There's no purer feeling in the world than being scared. And if you're by yourself, well, that just takes all the fun out of it. Here's a list of horror films from the past 10 years that are too scary to watch alone. The Babadook, the story of a widowed mother who struggles to discipline her out-of-control son, Samuel. Samuel has nightmares about a monster he believes is coming to kill him, and when a disturbing book called The Babadook turns up at their house, Samuel is convinced that the Babadook is the monster in his dreams.
It's just a book.
You can't get rid of the Babadook.
You can bring me the boy. You can bring me the boy. You can bring me the boy.
With plenty of tense moments and psychologically charged horror, The Babadook is sure to get your blood pumping.
You're staying right here with us.
Daddy, everyone dies.
1408, adapted from a Stephen King novella. This is a movie that creates an abundance of tension without relying heavily on blood and gore.
You're saying there's no such thing as ghosts?
I'm saying I've never seen one. Nothing would make me happier than to experience a paranormal event.
The film follows John Cusack's character, a writer who is prepping for his next book by staying in haunted hotel rooms across the country.
This is it.
In the 95 years of the hotel's existence, there have been 56 deaths in 1408.
56.
No one's ever lasted more than an hour. The first victims to Kevin O'Malley.
Cut his own throat.
Do not stay in that room.
If you're in the mood for a good ghost story, 1408 is a well-paced psychological horror that's guaranteed to give you goosebumps. Lights Out, based on the short film of the same name by director David F. Sandberg. Lights Out is about a supernatural being that is repelled by light. It lurks in the shadows, haunting a boy and his family. This film is creatively terrifying, full of jump scares and thrills that will keep you on the edge of your seats. And at a runtime of 81 minutes, it doesn't overstay its welcome. Insidious. James Wan puts a different spin on the haunted house genre with this fright flick. It's about a family whose son inexplicably falls into a coma, and the parents struggle to figure out the cause and end up uncovering a force of power that is beyond their control. James Wan creates an environment that is very unsettling and filled with tension. Jump scares? This film has that too, but it delivers so much more. Insidious has some of the most haunting visuals, and they will linger with you long after the movie. Don't watch it alone. The Strangers. A departure from the ghosts, The Strangers is a very disturbing movie that will definitely have you checking your locks twice before you go to bed. Inspired by true events, this brutal film is all the more scary because it's one of those that could actually happen to you. There's a certain reality that comes with home invasion films that you don't get with ghost stories, and this film is sure to hang with you longer than you'll want it to. Evil Dead, by far the bloodiest on the list. Evil Dead is the remake of Sam Raimi's 1981 classic. Much like the original, this film centers on a group of young adults at a remote cabin in the woods who discover a book of the dead. And let's just say, hell is unleashed. I know remakes remakes get a bad rap, but this one is well worth a watch. It's gory, it's bloody, and it'll make you think twice about taking your next camping trip.
Not another peep. Time to go to sleep.
Sinister. Ethan Hawke stars as a true crime novelist who discovers a box of disturbing 8mm films in his new home. Hawke watches the films to help him with research for his new book, but soon uncovers more than he bargained for. Sinister is a creepy film that stays with you long after you watch it. It starts out as more of a thriller, but it eventually turns up the horror. I watched this alone in the dark with headphones and it really freaked me out. The music really adds to this one too. This film has an overall creep factor that will make the hairs on the back of your neck stand straight up. Don't watch it alone.
What's the matter? What's happened?
Get the kids, pack the car. We have to leave here now.
Ouija, Origin of Evil, the prequel that easily outshines the original. Directed by Mike Flanagan, Origin of Evil takes place in the 60s and follows a widow and her 2 daughters. When the mother brings home a Ouija board, strange things begin happening to her little girl.
Spirit, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mike Flanagan did a fantastic job with this film. Instead of relying on loud jump scares, Flanagan creates an ambiance of creepiness, which is sometimes nothing more than silence.
Do you know what it feels like to be strangled to death?
The performances in this movie were also great, especially the little girl. She creeped the hell out of me. She's right up there with the twins from The Shining. I highly recommend Origin of Evil, but if you're gonna watch this film, expect nightmares. The Conjuring, another film from James Wan and probably the most well-received movie on the list. The Conjuring is based on the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the world-renowned paranormal investigators of the Amityville Horror. Ed and Lorraine are called upon to investigate a dark presence that is terrorizing a family at their secluded farmhouse. The movie takes place in the 70s and has an amazing look reminiscent of classic horrors like The Exorcist, and The Conjuring brings the scares like the classics too. Wan is excellent at building tension throughout the film, and it pays off in Act 3. The Conjuring is one of the better haunted house movies ever made, and the religious aspects in the film make it even scarier than it would have been. Paranormal Activity, the most profitable movie of all time. Taking a page from the Blair Witch Project, director Oren Peli made a horror movie that looks more like a documentary than a fictional film, and that scares the shit out of people. None of the scenes were scripted, which made the actors ad-lib and throw out F-bombs, which only adds to the realism. It's like the show Unsolved Mysteries. That scared the bejesus out of me when I was little, because I knew it was real.
What are you doing? Pick it up. What are you doing? Why is she here?
Something out there. Fuck! Oh, God! God damn it!
When we see crappy footage of regular people, it looks very real, and that's much scarier than Hollywood.
It's not a ghost. What is it?
Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments which movie you think is too scary to watch alone. Bye.